Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. And today I have a review for you guys that I am very excited to do. I'm going to try my best to do a spoiler-free review on this because I don't want to ruin it for anybody in case there are some people out there that are looking for a really great Christmas thriller. I think I have found the perfect Christmas thriller for you guys. So let me kind of tell you the history of this book right here, which is I'll Be Alone for Christmas by Kristen Mulligan, before I get into talking about what this book is about. Like I said, I'm going to do a spoiler-free review, so I'm not going to ruin it for you. It's a novella. You literally could probably just finish it in one setting. I think my friend Nikki did. As you guys know, many of you know, I am reading two books this year that are Christmas Advent Calendar thrillers. The first one is called 25 Days by Per Jacobson, and you read a chapter a day up until Christmas. And it's a thriller about this family that is stuck in this cabin out in the middle of nowhere, and there's this killer that's trying to get them. That's the first one. The second one that I'm reading is called Xmas Break. I do not remember who it's by, but it's about this woman and her boyfriend that go to visit her sister and her sister's partner in this like glass cabin in the woods during the middle of a blizzard on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And all this tension flares up, and her sister's up to no good, and you don't really know what her sister's up to, but she's up to no good. That one's okay. The 25 Days book I'm loving, but I find myself wanting to binge read it, even though I'm like sticking to a chapter a day, because I have to just say, this whole idea of having a book advent calendar is really fun. And I don't know if people did this before, but this is the first time I've known of it. And I'm having a really good time. I know there's several of you guys out there that are reading the books along with me and other people out there. I think I've seen in a lot of Facebook groups that a lot of people are reading the Per Jacobson book. It is really, I'm having a really good time reading it. The chapters are not that long. I did a video talking about it, I don't know, a couple videos ago. So if you guys are looking for a good Christmas thriller that you can read every day, it's not too late to catch up with it. I mean, it'd probably take you like an hour to catch up to where those books are. So the two Advent Calendar books are called 25 Days by Per Jacobson and Xmas Break. And I would say each chapter is about, last night's was, for 25 Days was like 12 pages, but I read it in like 10 minutes. I mean, they're really quick pages. So I was online one night and I was looking for other books that were shorter that I could read a chapter a day, kind of like an Advent Calendar book. And I came along this book, and it is called I'll Be Alone for Christmas by Kristen Mulligan. Okay, I didn't know anything about it. I knew that it was short. The book is, hold on a second, let me pull it up. The book is 157 pages, okay? Now, this is a re-release. She released it originally. It was funny because I was talking about this on my vlog, and somebody said, oh, I found a cozy mystery, and I bought it, and it's called I'll Be Alone for Christmas, and then I mentioned it later in my video, and she said, oh, that's the book that I bought, but it was by a different author that she said, and I was like, that's weird, that the same title, two different authors, but I'll Be Alone for Christmas is not like that unique of a title, that I thought, okay, probably 2 or 3 people have probably used this title. What's interesting is when I started reading this, the author in the preface talks about how she previously released this under a pseudonym, but was so proud of it later that she released it under her real name, Kristen Mulligan. Okay, so I didn't really know what to think of this. It's a novella, and I thought, this is going to probably be cheesy. I'm not going to like it. The Per Jacobson book, the 25 Days and the Xmas Break, they're fun to read because they're Advent Calendar books. I do not think they're the greatest thrillers in the entire world. The writing isn't that fantastic. The dialogue isn't that fantastic. The character development isn't that fantastic. Definitely the 25 Days is better, the Xmas Break. The fun of reading the books is that you read a chapter a day. That's kind of the fun of it. I wouldn't say, like, when I'm done with them, do I think they're the greatest thrillers I've ever read? No, not at all. So I have to tell you, I did not go into this with high expectations at all. And it's independently published as well, and so, which I want to start talking about more independently published authors over here because I've been reading a lot more lately, and so I didn't really have high expectations for this book. Now, let me give you the synopsis for this book, okay? Romy's winter break was planned out months ahead. A week at a cabin in the woods surrounded or sounded romantic, and maybe it was just what her boyfriend of 2 years needed to pop the question. Instead, he proposed they break up, a week before they were destined to wake up Christmas morning happier than ever. Heartbroken but undaunted, Romy embarks on a solitary journey to the remote cabin. Yearning for peace and closure in the tranquil snowscape, six nights of isolation, wine, and TV shows seemed like the perfect remedy for a breakup. Yet from the moment she arrives, an ominous presence clings to her. The house is old, creaking and shifting, as if harboring another occupant. Bizarre occurrences escalate as each day passes, blurring the line between reality and a nightmare, making her question everything. She is alone, right? When Romy decides it's time, I'm laughing because on my vlog I kept on reading that part over and over and over again. When Romy decides it's time to leave the vacation rental early, it's already too late. Snowed in and unable to escape, she has to survive the frigid conditions and limited resources. And the possibility that someone sees her when she's sleeping and knows when she's awake. Okay, so when I went into this, I was like, this is going to be cheesy. It's another cabin book, blah, 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 whatever, okay? I didn't really have high expectations for this at all. So what it's about, okay? It's about this woman, and her name is Romy, and she's like in her mid-20s. And, she is a school teacher. She's an elementary school teacher, and she lives in a city. They don't say what city, but you kind of assume it's like New York. And she's been living in this city in an apartment. She's got this boyfriend, and they've been like together, you know, for 2 years. And so she thinks he's going to propose to her. So she books this cabin with the idea that they're going to be in this isolated area in this little small town. She's done a lot of research on this small town, and that she is going, like, he's going to propose to her, and they're going to be on the balcony on Christmas, and it's going to be very romantic and all that kind of stuff. Instead, he breaks up with her, okay? So she's devastated. But she goes in, and this is where the character development is really great. She goes in and talks about, like, how, like, she's broke as a teacher, she doesn't make a lot of money, and that teachers plan out their vacations, like, months ahead of time. They all have families and spouses and kids, and she's the only one, and so she can't get the deposit back on the cabin. She calls a woman to try to get the deposit back. This is all at the very beginning. So she tries to get the deposit back, and she can't. So she's like, she's going to lose $1,000. So she says, okay, I'm just going to go up there anyway. She calls her mom. Her mom can't come, and so she's not going to go visit her parents for Christmas. So she decides she's just going to go up the cabin anyway. Maybe it'll be a good respite for her to get away. The small town is cute. There's like a skiing area right there and all this kind of stuff. So maybe she'll just spend Christmas alone, watch a lot of movies. She watches Stranger Things, drink a lot of wine from Trader Joe's. There's like a whole grocery shopping excursion at Trader Joe's. It's very detailed. The specifics of the book are very detailed, which I love. That's one of the aspects of the book that I loved. Whereas I'm reading all these other books that are very vague and ambiguous in details. The details of this book are really, really good. And so she goes up to this cabin. From like moment one that she arrives in this town, she feels like people are watching her. She feels like something's going on, and she doesn't really know where that's coming from. She feels like somebody's kind of out to get her. Now that's all I'm going to give you about this. Okay, it is a thriller that I guess people are considering it like a slasher gore thriller. It's definitely not like a horror movie where somebody's like, I mean, it's not that. It is a suspense thriller, and there is violence in it. I will say that. I mean, I watch slasher movies. I watch, like, horror movies. I would not consider this that. I wouldn't. I mean, maybe some of the older books of horror that I read, I will tell you there is a lot of violence in this book towards the end of it. But what is so fantastic about this book, it's nothing supernatural, though. Like, going into it, I thought, well, maybe this is going to be supernatural. Maybe this is going to be paranormal. I didn't really know. There's nothing supernatural or paranormal about it. It is a very scary book. And I will tell you that there is gore and there is violence in it. But it's not like, and there's very detailed. I mean, she describes the violence and the gore in there. But it's not like a serial killer coming killing 30 people or something like that. It's not like a Michael Myers Halloween kind of thing. It's a very realistic situation that happens to her. What I love about the book is that it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds. And I wouldn't say that the chapters leave on cliffhangers. I feel like there's something right here. The chapters don't leave on cliffhangers, but they do definitely like lead you wanting to read the next chapter. So I was trying to read a chapter of this a night. And so one night I was sitting here and I was like, okay, I got to get caught up like 5 chapters because there's 22 chapters in an epilogue. And so I was like figuring it out in my head what chapter I had to be on so that I would be on the date to catch up so that I could read a chapter a day. Well, I'd already read like 2 chapters of it. That was when she was like going up north and then Trader Joe's and all that kind of stuff. Then she gets to the cabin. So I started like on chapter 3, and I sat there, and that entire night I read the rest of the book minus the last 2 chapters, and the next day I read the last 2 chapters. The way that the author builds the suspense in this book, I mean, for those of you that don't follow me closely, I read cozy mysteries and thrillers, okay? I read the Frida McFadden books, the Housemaid books. I read a lot of really great thrillers this year. This one is at the top of the list. I mean, it is absolutely, not just as a Christmas thriller, and I don't mind the violence. Like, I can read that kind of stuff. I know that there's people that are really sensitive to it. I'm somebody that I can read that. That doesn't bother me. The build-up of the suspense, I'm just going to give you little examples, but I won't ruin it for you, okay? Like, not knowing, like, if she can trust somebody, like a neighbor, all the way to little things like if you, like, I'm just going to make something up, but, like, let's say if you, like, came to your front door and there was, like, a footprint in the snow. It's like but then the next chapter, it's even more, and that's not, like, an example in the book, but it leads to even more and more and more that you're, like, you know something's going on, but you can't figure it out. The suspense that she builds in this book is so fantastic. I was blown away. I was really blown away. I talked to my friend Nikki and I said, what did you think? She goes, it was good. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was excellent. I think it's one of the best thrillers that I've read this year. I mean, so Kristen Mulligan writes a lot of like romance and stuff like that, which it's probably pretty good as well. I might check one of them out because her character development is what's so interesting to me. By the end of this, you really know the character Romy. I kind of like on my vlog, I was kind of like making fun of like, because she says on here, I am alone, right? And it sounds cheesy, the synopsis, but by the end, like, you really know this character. Like, you really know it. And it's a conclusive ending. Like, it ends conclusively, and afterwards, and, like, there's several other characters. It is really, really well done. So I wanted to get on here, and I want to make sure that I did a review. I'm currently listening to the audiobook. So for those of you that do not know, I put off my November book for Peter's Book Club, the Paula Hawkins book. I put it off until after Christmas because I want to read the Christmas cozy mysteries and thrillers. So I'm currently listening to the December book for Peter's Book Club, which is the most wonderful crime of the year. It's really good. The audio version is really, really good. There's several actors in it. But I'm also reading, like, you know, physical copy books and listening to a lot of other audiobooks. So I want to get through the Christmas ones. After each one that I read, I will come over here and I will do a review. But I wanted to get on here and share this with you early enough that if you're looking for another holiday read, I think this was like $7.99 on Amazon. It's rather cheap. And it's a quick read. Like, you can read it in one setting. It is a thriller. There is violence. Just a little warning to you about that. But if you don't mind that kind of stuff, it is a great thriller. It is a really, really good thriller. So anyway, I just want to share that with you guys. Let me know what you're reading in the comment section below. The book again is I'll Be Alone for Christmas by Kristen Mulligan. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.